to the Baani and Billi Show, where a cat discusses worldly matters with their human companion. This episode is presented to you by Oliver's Post, a news magazine for young readers. Libertad!
Baani, all good? I just gave up a rare millipede for this. What are you filming?
You've ruined my take.
I'm sorry, Meryl Streep. Is this for an audition?
Liberty, that's what it's for. Now shush. Libertad!
Hey, I see what this is. You're one of those anti-lockdown, anti-maskers. Look, if you want to put your life at risk, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. I don't care. But if you go out and come back and bring that damn virus with you, I swear on my mama's meow that I will rip you.
The virus? Wait. You've got this all wrong.
Oh yeah, of course. I know all about it. COVID-19 was actually caused by Bill Gates. It's in the 5G. COVID-19 is not real.
What? I definitely believe in COVID. But
There are always buts. Do you think that I like the fact that you're always here? Hell to the no. But I'd rather suffer in your company than spread this disease. Have you not heard, Baani? It's our responsibility to stop the spread.
oh my god, I am not talking about COVID-19. I'm talking about something else entirely.
The Baani and Billi Show.
I always wear a mask and I only go out when it's necessary. This is embarrassing for you.
You know, you can never be too sure about what kind of wacko information is floating around on the internet these days. So really, is it anyone's fault that I assume that you were a COVIDiot? At the end of the day, social media is to blame. It's got us all so paranoid.
Sure, of course. And you can do no wrong, right?
Exactly. What were you screaming about anyway?
The protests in Cuba, the largest protest that Cuba has seen in decades. The people want liberty, or as they say in Spanish, libertad!
Oh, that's a big United States government conspiracy. You've been brainwashed. You'd better not get fooled. Trust me, I read all about it on the internet.
First of all, don't believe everything you read on the internet. And secondly, I hope you see the irony here.
Oh, I don't know what you mean.
Well, you're the victim of an internet conspiracy, and you just gave me a lecture about it.
Conspiracy? Conspiracy? This is the truth. Open your eyes, Baani.
But there are photos and videos with proof of the protests. What are you going on about?
Yeah, but those have all been arranged by American spies and they've brainwashed the entire Cuban country.
Just listen to what you're saying. Listen to yourself.
Now, America has painted this as a big anti-Cuban government protest, but we all know that America is the one to blame. The Americans have caused the protests and now they're publicizing them. This has nothing to do with the Cuban government. And besides, the Cuban government can't do anything about their situation.
You see, the government wants to blame America, but it's actually really their own fault.
Oh, really? How?
So bear with me for a moment and let me take you through Cuba's history.
Oh, I hate bearing with you, Baani. But sure, take me through your version of Cuba's history.
Wait. If we're going all the way to Havana, let's really get to the island and argue there.
What?
Let the music take you there. Wouldn't it be nicer if we were arguing on a beach in Havana? Oh, a girl can dream.
Havana? I thought we were going to Cuba.
Silly, Havana is the capital of the island of Cuba. Now I know who's winning this argument. Anyway, journey with me, Billy.
There I am, sipping a milkshake. A whiff of tuna.
The year is 1899 and Cuba, a Spanish colony, has just been supported by America in its fight against Spain.
Oh, colonization. Makes my blood boil every time.
Anyway, until 1902, Cuba was under American rule. Well, kind of. But this was far better than the Spanish rule.
Why can't Cubans just rule Cuba? Rule this, colonize that.
Well, I suppose back in the day that was the fashion.
I guess it was.
So, Cuba was under the rule of the Americans, but this was very different from when Cuba was colonized by Spain. The US basically gave them far more freedom, and by 1902, Cuba was under what is known as neo-imperialist rule. The US took control of Cuba's foreign relations and helped maintain democracy in the country, while Cuba had their own government.
Helped maintain democracy? This is why our versions of the story aren't exactly the same. They helped change Cuba's government based on what suited them. They wanted Cuba's abundant sugar, so
Well, of course! What country won't keep their own interests in mind?
this is like you keeping my interests in mind when spinach magically became good for me the time you decided to go vegan, and then just magically it wasn't good for me.
Focus, Billy. The American government intervened here and there for whatever reason, and eventually Cuba had an uprising in 1933.
Exactly. And what happened then? America butted out. President Franklin Roosevelt stayed neutral, and finally, Cuba created its own stable democracy.
Yeah, but how stable was it really? 20 years later, in 1952, we're basically back to square one. Freedoms were gone, and in its place, they had a military dictator, Fulgencio Batista.
Ugh, Fulgencio Batista, the enemy.
Yep, with no American guidance, this man used the military to take over the entire country. And everyone's rights with it. The country became poorer, and the lives of the Cuban people became more and more tedious.
And then it happened. The big revolution. The heroes came to the scene. Well, it's time for the Cuban Revolution.
In 1959, Fidel Castro,
My hero!
a man who believed that the people should take back the country using communism, started to become increasingly popular.
But America was afraid of this man because he was a communist who didn't believe in American ideals. So what did they do? I'll tell you. They backed a dictator.
Well, that's because America believes in freedom. Fidel Castro wanted to fight the dictatorship and replace it with his own.
No, he was offering a trade-off. People could give up many of their private freedoms and let the government handle things for them. They would get their basic necessities like food, water, education, and healthcare.
Yep, no freedom at all. To this day, they can't protest freely. They can't make art, get proper access to the internet.
But they got food and water. What more could you want? And it's what the people wanted in that moment. In 1959, Castro successfully led a massively popular revolution, even though America was backing the dictator.
Billy, just calm down, okay? Remember, go back in your mind. We're sipping peanut butter shakes on a beach in Havana.
Oh, don't ruin my vibe. I'm sipping a tuna shake with worms.
Yuck. Ugh, I can't win with you. Anyway, getting back. Yep, America backed the dictator, and when Fidel Castro took over in 1959, it's safe to say that the two countries really weren't on great terms anymore.
Oh no, they weren't. The Cuban public saw the Americans, and by extension Batista, as their new colonizers.
So Cuba joined hands with America's arch enemy, the Soviet Union, and in response, America cut Cuba off from the rest of the world.
Exactly, just cut them off, slash. But they persevered, and Cuba did okay.
For a while, sure. But when the Soviet Union disbanded, Cuba was left in the lurch. And that's when the government started to mess up. They chose their ideals over the happiness of their own people.
And so did America. They chose to continue to punish the harmless tiny island and kept it cut off from the world.
Fast forward to now, and the Cuban government is still not giving up on their communist ideals, even though their people are suffering. They still restrict all private activity and freedom and don't even provide for the people of Cuba in exchange.
Well, that's because America won't allow them to provide for their people by blocking trade with the country. Even though America's former president Barack Obama lifted its harsh restrictions and trade laws on Cuba, President Donald Trump overturned everything. He strangled the country, and that's why, thanks to America, everything is back to square one.
First of all, Donald Trump isn't president anymore, Billy. And the new president, Joe Biden, promised to lift America's restrictions on Cuba. But the Cuban government has to compromise and give its people some freedom and human rights. Instead, the new leader, Miguel Diaz-Canel, isn't changing Castro's ideas or adapting them to the times. He's just swallowing the country's money and letting the public go hungry. He isn't even trying to create better relations with countries that can actually come and help Cuba.
Canel is trying to uphold the ideals of the revolution that was started by Fidel Castro. Castro freed them from colonization and a dictatorship. Come on, his ideas must be worth something.
But that was 60 years ago. Who cares about it now if they have no food to eat again and still no freedom?
If they have no freedom, then how are they protesting?
That's thanks to the internet, basically.
Exactly. In 2019, the government allowed internet in Cuba.
Well, now they've realized its power and the internet is gone again. When a group of artists started to protest for their freedom, others saw this all over social media and swarms of fearless people joined in. They realized that their strength was in numbers and they basically got courage from one another. They even had a song to fuel their power. Patria y Vida, the song of life.
America has anyway blocked everything from reaching the Cuban people in the middle of a pandemic. America has even made it illegal to do business in Cuba. Any company that wants to function in America can't have anything to do with Cuba. So which country do you think companies pick?
Obviously, the ones that will get them more money. America.
So, with no business and no trade, people are poor and jobless. What do they have to lose? Of course, they'll head to the streets.
Canel and his government are corrupt, and as they line their own pockets, they're relying on 60-year-old glory to keep people loyal to them. Most people weren't even alive at the time of the revolution, Billy.
As the slogan goes, Patria o muerte, homeland or die. The Cubans must protect their homeland so they aren't colonized by countries like America again.
Well, at this point, it's homeland and die for the Cuban people. The truth is that the government can't provide them any of the stuff that Fidel Castro had promised them back then.
How do you know that?
You can actually see this happening all over, Billy. The coronavirus is ravaging the island. People don't have food and medicines, and there are endless power cuts. The fans and coolers are cut off, even in the most extreme heat. No one wants to die for a homeland that doesn't care for them, right? That's why this powerful protest song is called Patria y Vida, Homeland and Life. Because that's what the people want at the end. They don't want to die for a revolution that means nothing to them. They're helpless. They just don't want any more deaths.
So, shouldn't America help the people and not cut them off further? Why has Joe Biden put even more restrictions on Cuba?
He's not put them on Cuba. He's put them on the corrupt government there. Well, I would say this is a classic case of the carrot and the stick. The real question is, should America use a stick and push the people to a point where they are troubled enough to be willing to risk it all? That way, the people can themselves throw out the corrupt government that America doesn't even like in the first place. Basically, should they use harsh methods where they block Cuba and the money that goes to it so that the people become desperate enough to risk their lives and fight the government on their own?
Oh, or they could just dangle a carrot and show the people how great an American way of life is. So if it's really that great, people will just choose it.
I agree they should use a carrot, Billy, but it's tricky. They have to get people money and help without that aid going into the hands of the government.
And I agree with you.
Wait, then why are we arguing exactly?
Because your way of life is stupid and I'm smarter than you.
You know what? I've changed my mind. I prefer the stick. No more food for you. You can cook it all by yourself. I don't care.
Fine. I guess I'm coming out to protest then.
Okay. You can eat. Just stop with that meowing.
Thank you. I still wholeheartedly reject you and all your ways.
I'm good with that as long as I don't have to hear that protesting again. There's really no winning with you, is there?